Welcome back here to Mighty Mac on YouTube. Once again, if you guys like the content that we provide, then be sure to subscribe to the channel today so you don't miss any of the upcoming content, as we have just wrapped up the PRO Superstar Shootout and are less than a month away from the start of the 2025 NHRA season. So if you want to know what's going on in the drag racing world and get all your highlights, news, and race updates, then be sure to subscribe today so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So we just wrapped up the PRO Superstar Shootout today down in Bradenton, Florida. Once again, the action lived up to the hype from what we saw last year. We saw a lot of feel-good stories and a lot of upsets that we probably wouldn't have expected on a normal NHRA event day. I don't have too many notes about how the race went besides thank you to the fans that showed up. There was a notable increase from what we saw on Friday. Pretty packed house, I'd say almost sold out. If not, I don't know if they announced it or not, but compared to what we saw on Friday, there was a notable increase in fan attendance, especially from Thursday, which, you know, work night. I'm not going to blame anybody for not showing up to that, but for the fans that showed up on Saturday, apparently it was a really hot day down there in Florida, which is no surprise because it's Florida. So thank you to the fans that showed up and supported the event. All in all, good event on race day. The same complaints that I would say that needs to be looked at going the next year, that being the time it takes to prep the track, as well as promotion more so on Flow Racing side to get the event that mainstream attention that we saw last year. But other than that, it was a pretty good event from just like the momentum that we saw last year. We have a lot to talk about in terms of the race, especially what this can mean going into the 2025 NHRA season. So without further ado, let's stop yapping and let's look at the highlights from today's event. In Pro Stock, I'm going to give a bit of the disclaimer because I remember this complaint from last year. I know it's going to look confusing. The way the PRO Superstar Shootout works is a chip draw, not your normal elimination style bracket where it goes by qualifying order. So it's not going to match up to what you see. That's why there's no ladder connecting each round to each other. So it's pretty much as soon as the winner of the round goes to the top end, they draw a chip. Whoever draws that same number is who they're going to face. So that's why it's going to look a little bit messed up, but it's the best way I have to represent what the ladder looked like. So in Pro Stock round 1, David Quadra defeated Matt Latino after both pairs squared the tires off the line. I actually saw a pedal fest in Pro Stock before Matt Latino decided just to shove the clutch in and save the car. Jake Coughlin Jr. defeated Dallas Glenn as both cars left with under a 1/10,000th of a second reaction time, but Dallas shut the car off early. Greg Anderson would defeat Erica Anders in a heads-up race. Erica feeling a bit under the weather and understaffed as she has a couple of crew guys out with medical issues. So a very rough weekend for Elite Motorsports, but they apparently got some good testing done throughout the event. Aaron Stanfield would beat Chris McGahey. Christian Quadra beat his brother Fernando Jr. after Fernando cut a red light. Troy Coughlin Jr. would take out Bo Butner. Cory Reed would defeat Mason McGahey with an impressive 6.545, the second quickest run of the round, and Greg Stanfield would beat Derek Kramer in his return to Pro Stock. In round number 2, Troy Coughlin Jr. would defeat the reigning Pro Stock champion Greg Anderson, and Cory Reed would defeat Troy Coughlin Jr. run low ET of round 2 with a 6.567, but will be overshadowed as for what I believe is the first time in Jake Coughlin's career he would hit the wall after fishtailing it off the starting line and barely keeping it from rolling over. Jeg would walk away from the car unharmed, but the front end of the car is seemingly destroyed, but the chassis I would say might be fine except for the supercharger. Greg Stanfield would take out his son Aaron Stanfield in a father versus son matchup, and David Quadra would also defeat his brother thanks to another Quadra red light, this time by Christian. In the semifinals, the Cinderella story would continue for the caveman Cory Reed, who would take out Greg Stanfield with another impressive 6.563. Meanwhile, Troy Coughlin Jr. would advance to the final round after beating his elite teammate David Quadra. And in the final round, Troy Coughlin Jr. would square the tires off the starting line but still get the win as the clock would strike midnight for Cory Reed thanks to a costly red light, giving Troy his first win since Gainesville of 2023. In Funny Car, the story will continue to be Austin Prock's march through the field, as after setting a new Funny Car ET record, he rolled into Saturday continuing to add to his dominance. In round 1, Chad Green would defeat Bobby Bodie, who looked to have the win but had to shut the car off to avoid hitting the wall. Ron Capps will keep the momentum rolling from qualifying, taking out Daniel Wilkerson and sitting low ET of the round with a 3.86 with a 3. Jack Beckman would defeat his old teammate Matt Hagan, and Austin Prock would score another win against Bob Taskett III. In round 2, Jack Beckman would face off against another old teammate, this time being Ron Capps. This time history would not repeat itself as Ron picked up the momentum, scoring low ET of the semis and bettering his ET from round 1 with a 386. Austin Prock would beat Chad Green after Chad cut a near perfect delay with a 003 reaction time. And in the final round, which was a rematch from last year's US Nationals, Ron Capps would get his payback as he would prevent Austin from going back-to-back, scoring his first win since Indy of 2023. And lastly, in Top Fuel, business in the Top Fuel class will continue to pick up as more drivers are becoming Hart Chargers entering the 2025 season. Brittany Forrest will continue to build out the momentum that she ended 2024 with, defeating the reigning event winner Doug Coletta in round 1. Josh Hart found himself with a really fast race car after testing and qualifying and keep the ball rolling into Sunday, where he would take out Tony Stewart with the low ET of the round at a 3.726. Shawn Reed would face off against Antron Brown. Shawn also found himself with a fast car on race day and would show it off by taking out the defending Top Fuel champion with a 3.785. And lastly, Justin Ashley would defeat Sean Langdon to wrap up round number 1. In the semifinals, the feel-good stories will continue into the semis as Josh Hart, who missed the show a year ago, would take out Justin Ashley and score a low ET of the semis with a 3.721. Shawn Reed would keep that momentum rolling as he would take out Brittany Forrest on a whole shot win to give us a feel-good final round to decide this year's winner. And in that final round, both cars would launch off the line and have clean runs, but it would be Shawn Reed who would capture his first ever Top Fuel win at the PRO Superstar Shootout in his debut. Now, sadly, I am not able to have any video highlights to show. Last time I tried that, Flow Racing gave me a copyright strike and had to take down the video and redo it all over again. So sadly, that's not going to be a thing this year, but we will have highlight videos going forward with the NHRA season. So if you want to keep up with that, be sure to subscribe today to the channel. Final thoughts from the event. Like I said at the beginning, really good race. We had some really good feel-good stories, especially for the likes of Josh Hart, Shawn Reed, and Cory Reed. Those are 3 guys I'm looking at. Cory Reed looked really impressive all weekend long, sitting low ETs throughout most of qualifying, ended up going number 1, and ran it all the way to the finals, his first since his debut back at Sonoma. If he's able to keep his momentum up, he could be a real contender for some of these wins, if not the championship in 2025. For Josh Hart, after a very disappointing 2024, not making a show at the shootout last year, failing to qualify at the sponsors home race at Norwalk, he comes into 2025 with a fast race car and is looking very strong, especially going to Gainesville, a track that he has won at before in the Top Fuel call-out, has won the event before at the Gator Nationals. If he can keep this ball rolling, it's just going to keep adding to the craziness that is the Top Fuel class, because with Shawn Reed picking up the momentum and multiple other drivers coming in, it's just going to keep getting crazier. We're going to have now a 10-field countdown or more, depending on who gets in because of the lock-in spots, but you're looking at a potential 10-race championship where every single driver you can look at and say, I could believe that they could win a championship. Austin Prock continuing to keep the ball rolling and having just an incredible performance. He was guns blazing all weekend long, the same that we saw last year, but he even said he wasn't looking forward to running in that left lane, even though I think he ended up in the right lane. But, you know, after setting a 379 in a funny car, almost going to a 378, that car is going to be trouble for everybody. Ron Capps continues to build momentum, trying to get himself back up to that championship standard that we saw from a year ago. Bob Tasker frustrated after the weekend's end. Mahagi went out round 1. He ended up doing a grudge race against his boss, Tony Stewart, who was also unhappy with how the weekend went in testing. So there's going to be a lot of storylines to follow there to see how this progresses, because they ended the season in 2024 with a new chassis and running all the way to the semifinals in Pomona. But it seems that the same troubles that followed Tony Stewart throughout his rookie campaign is following him in his sophomore season. So we'll have to wait and see on that. And we still haven't even seen Pro Stock Motorcycle, the ongoing war of parity. The parity war in the class between Matt Smith and Gage Herrera, Richard Gatson as well, Chase Van Sant. It's going to be an exciting time in Gainesville. I can't wait to get down there for the Gear Nationals. So again, if you guys want to keep up with what's going on, be sure to subscribe today to the channel. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you see everything that's going on. Comment down below what you thought of the PRO Superstar Shootout and who you think is going to be the ones to look out for heading into the Gator Nationals. Like the video, share with everybody you know, so that way when we go to Gator Nationals, we have a packed house as always, and we can have some fresh eyes on the sport to keep growing this sport to where it needs to be. Be sure to follow me on all social media pages down below. Mighty Mac 03 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. We'll be posting updates all race long, all season long. And until the next big news headline drops or until the Gator Nationals, this has been Mighty Mac. We'll see you next time.